Regular programming will not be seen at this time. Stay tuned next for Boston Bruins hockey.
Yesterday in New Jersey, the Bruins had the Devils seeing red as former Soviet Grigory Penetlayev was the story. His first ever NHL goal in the first period was the first of 4 straight tallies for the Bees. Boston moving in front for good in the second. On the power play, David Shaw blasted away from the point, beating the Devils' Chris Terreri. Then in the third, Joey Juneau and Adam Oates set up Penetlayev for his second on the day.
Road trip in Chicago against the Blackhawks. The Hawks are in a battle for their 3rd Norris Division title in 4 years and are currently in 2nd place, a point behind the Detroit Red Wings. However, only 3 points separate the top 3 teams in the division, so every game is a big one for first-year head coach Daryl Sutter's club. Defense is the name of the game in Chicago, and the Blackhawks have the stingiest in hockey, having given up only 209 goals this season. 2 big reasons can be found behind the blue line: Norris Trophy candidate Chris Chelios and underrated defenseman Steve Smith. Add all-star goalie Ed Belfour to the mix, and you come up with a Hawks team that leads the NHL with a goals against average of 2.75. These 2 clubs last tangled with each other back on January 23rd when the Hawks took the Whalers to school and came away with a 6-2 victory at the Civic Center.
The big thing we have to do as a team is learn a lesson from these guys. They got 20 guys that play, and from their best player to their worst player and everybody in between, they all show up for 60 minutes and work.
They're a great forechecking team, and their defense is stepping up all the time. And if you don't work hard and if you don't execute, they're going to throw a blanket on you because they're right there all the time.
Whalers will have to execute tonight here at Chicago Stadium because they haven't won in their last 5 visits to the Windy City, dating back to March 2nd, 1988. So stay with us as the Whalers and Blackhawks get set to battle next on Sports Channel. Hartford Whalers Hockey and Sports Channel is brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. By Bob's Stores, everybody's favorite store. By your Connecticut GMC truck dealers, the strength of experience. By Shawmut Bank, understanding what you need, helping you make it happen. Shawmut Bank, know-how that pays off. By Gillette Sensor and the new Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get. And by your New England Jeep and Eagle dealer, where you can get the advantage. Live from Chicago Stadium, Sports Channel presents Hartford Whalers Hockey. Tonight's game features the Whalers and the Chicago Blackhawks. Good evening, everyone. Rick Peckham and Jerry Cheevers with you tonight as the Whalers wrap up a stretch of 5 road games in 6 games against the Chicago Blackhawks in a very tough venue for visiting team Chicago Stadium. Both these teams are coming off wins. The Blackhawks are only 2-2 in their last 4, but they're coming off their best game in that stretch. A 3-1 win at Madison Square Garden on Friday against the Rangers. Ed Belfour paved the way with 39 saves in goal for Chicago. And the Whalers are coming off an exciting 2-1 victory last night at the Met Center in Bloomington over the struggling Minnesota North Stars. Jeff Sanderson, Zarley Zalapski, each a goal and an assist. Mario Gosselin once again outstanding with 33 saves. And Jerry, that gives the Whalers a record of 6-4 in their last 10 games on the road. They're quite comfortable playing around the National Hockey League.
Well, they were certainly comfortable last night after a shaky start at the Met Center in Minnesota, thanks to the great goaltending of Mario Gosselin. But this team has come a long way, Rick, and I think it's very important in this last few games on the road to really find out if they are a legitimate road team, and you have to be to survive the National League this year. I think it's important for the team next year, for the organization next year, to play well on the road.
As we look at numbers comparing the last 10 games on the road versus the last 10 at home, the Whalers have been much more successful on the road, and defense seems to be the difference there, averaging a goal and a half a game better on the road. Now, Mario Gosselin has been starring. Jerry, it's been a thrill a minute for the Goose in his run of 6 straight games for the Whalers, subbing for Sean Burke and Frank Pietrangelo.
I'm certainly enjoying watching Mario play. He's no pro, you know. He's a veteran. He knows what it's all about. And last night in Minnesota, I mean, he only had 33 saves. So, I mean, I guess he's fresh for tonight's game. You know, since Mario's been playing goal, the opposition has outshot the Whalers almost 2-1. And Mario has given the Whalers a chance to win every one of those games. I know they've only won 2 out of the 7 he's played, but he's given the chance to win every one.
Jerry, Jeff Sanderson has been the big story offensively with 41 goals, but someone's got to feed you when you're scoring that often. Andrew Castles very quietly, efficiently has been that man.
Yeah, he is. He's emerged as the #1 centerman on the Hartford Whalers. He's a very skilled individual, and he's really putting his mind to work right now, Rick, and I think he sees the writing on the wall for himself and the Whalers that next year, if the Whalers are going to be successful, he's got to be the leader out there offensively. He does a lot of things defensively, and he's going to be the #1 centerman.
We've enjoyed watching a pretty good race for playoff positions in the Adams division among the top 4 teams this year, but really that race, I think, kind of pales in comparison to what's been going on in the Norris lately among the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, and the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, you know, you look at the Blackhawks position and anyone's position in the league, they can play any team in the league in the first round of the playoffs outside of Tampa Bay. In their division, I should say, they can play Detroit in the first round if Toronto ends up first and they end up 2nd and 3rd or 3rd and 2nd, whatever it is. They can play Minnesota if they beat St. Louis out of the playoffs. They can beat St. Louis, but there's no secret around here that the Chicago Blackhawks, they want to end up first in this closely run Norris Division race.
And with the pressure to get that home ice advantage and then go on and be successful in the playoffs, the Hawks have had to be active in the trade market leading up to the deadline, reacquiring Troy Murray, who was a Hawk for 9 years before he went to Winnipeg, and then these 2 players from the Edmonton Oilers, Joe Murphy, who's been out with a contract dispute all season long, Craig Muni coming at the deadline. He's playing his first game tonight for Chicago.
I think the big key, if the Hawks are going to win the Stanley Cup or at least get to the finals, is going to be Joe Murphy, Rick. He's going to be able to complement Jeremy Roenick, and their big problem with the Hawks is going to be scoring goals. They're going to have to score goals to get to the finals, and for any chance of beating the Penguins, if they're the team, or to beat whoever's in the finals against them, they're going to have to get goals for more than Jeremy Roenick and Steve Larmer. As far as Muni goes, he's a proven winner. He's a grinder. He'll fit perfectly in this building. Troy Murray is just one of many guys up front who's a trench player. They play good in the trenches, and if Murphy comes through, like we said, they have a very good chance to go to the finals and maybe win it.
On defense, no one's playing better than Chris Chelios in the NHL.
Well, I think he's a cinch to win the Norris. I know Raymond Bourque's come on strong the second half of the year, and there's a couple more candidates for the Norris, but this guy has been the most consistent of the defensemen in the National Hockey League. He will win the Norris Trophy this season.
We expect a pretty physical battle tonight. These 2 teams lead the league in penalty minutes, and the Whalers have been playing some very intense games. That's what Darryl Sutter is looking for out of his Hawks tonight as they try to get back in the win column here at Chicago Stadium, and we'll have tonight's opening face-off in just a moment. Two faces off against Mark Janssens. The Whalers have Mark Gregg and Nick Kyprios on the wings, Eric Weinrich and Randy Ladouceur defensively. Brian Marchment works with Chris Chelios on the Hawk defense. Behind Ruutu, Greg Gilbert, and Dirk Graham. Weinrich trying to keep the play in for the Whalers, and Chelios is there. Kyprios. Gilbert flips it up the boards for Ruutu. Break wide for Dirk Graham. He had trouble handling the pass. Gosselin out to play the puck. Ruutu is rushed to there by Kyprios. Battle is on behind the Whalers net. Kyprios grabbing Ruutu. We got a penalty upcoming to Nick Kyprios here in the first 40 seconds of play. A delayed call as Roenick has come on as the extra attacker, and just as he does, we get the whistle. As Chelios and Janssens are separated, Nick Kyprios shakes his head. It's not the way he wanted to start out here in Chicago Stadium tonight.
Well, to beat the Chicago Blackhawks, you certainly can't lose to them along the boards and let them get position, or you get into trouble like what we just saw with Nick Kypreos. Holding will be the call. Watch Kypreos with his free arm. It's really a weak takedown, but nevertheless, the referee just saw a loose arm break around the guy going down. And you can't get into problems like this, because this is a rink where you're going to be on the boards all night. You need two hands in your stick, and you got to get position.
Well, the Hawk power play has been an area of concern for Daryl Sutter this year. They're 16th best, just over 17% of the season. The Whalers' penalty killing has been a troublesome area overall, but last night it was excellent. 6 for 6 against Minnesota, and also it produced a shorthanded goal. So the Whalers will try to keep that going against the Hawks here in the early minutes at Chicago Stadium. Always a difficult situation for a visiting team to handle. Joe Murphy works up front with Jeremy Roenick and Brent Sutter. Murphy stick handles in. He's spun around by Andrew Castles. Randy Ledesser drives it around the boards and out. And the Whalers will get a change going with 30 seconds gone on the penalty. Chelios and Steve Smith work the points for the Hawks. Roenick stick handles in. The Whalers have Zarley Zalapski and Doug Huda behind Pat Verbeek and Robert Cron. Huda kicks a pass away to Cron. Cannot get it by Chelios. Jeremy Roenick ripped wide, and the pass is read by Zalapski. He'll tap it ahead. Verbeek races in there. He comes from a tough angle with Cron in front. The pass is kicked away by Smith. Big Steve Smith fires it behind Brian Noonan. Huda dumps it back in with a minute to go on the penalty. Out comes Chelios. Christian Ruutu seeing some power play time here. Gosland tees it up. It's driven hard by Doug Huda. Out of the reach of Smith, and the Hawks will now change up. Young defenseman Adam Bennett, just 21 years of age. A first rounder a few seasons back for the Hawks is on this power play. Ruutu steps away from Randy Cunningham. 3 changes in the Hartford lineup tonight. We'll tell you about them now as the puck is chopped out of play. Randy Cunningham and Paul Gillis are in the lineup. So is Dan Kesmer. All 3 sat out last night. Alan Peterson, Michael Nylander, Terry Yake are scratched from the lineup tonight, joining Sean Burke and Jim Agnew on the sidelines, of course, with injuries. As we look at Randy Cunningham, who enjoys playing in this building with a kind of reckless style that he can lend to his team.
Look at Dan Kesmer, who's played so well for the Whalers since his recall.
The Hawks have Michel Goulet scratched. Great news for Whaler fans there. Dave Christian and Milan Tichy. They've got Keith Brown and Frantisek Kuchera on the sidelines with pulled groin muscles. Marchment drives it in, and an unpredictable Karam Gosland fortunately hadn't left the crease just yet, and it's sent over the glass and out of play with 18 seconds to go on the penalty.
Well, the first part of this penalty, the Whalers have done a great job, Rick, in clearing the puck. They haven't messed around with it. As soon as it was on their stick, they drove it, used the glass and the boards, and twice they put it in the stands, but 2 or 3 times they've iced it. That's what you have to do in this building. This is a lightning fast track here, and when you're in a shorthanded situation, you got to get rid of it. There's one of the Sutters. If you're from Boston, he's another Sutter.
That's right. Who knows? I was kidding with him before the game about perhaps Sunday all 6 Sutters will be coaching in the NHL. Imagine that.
You'll have the Norris and the Patrick and the Sutter division.
That's right. Troy Murray with a pass into the corner. Jocelyn Lemieux out to Smith. 8 seconds on the Chicago power play. They've yet to get anything really at Gosland here as Lemieux fires from the angle, and Gosland got a stick on that. The rebound is behind Craig Muni, seeing his first ice as a Blackhawk as Kypreos leaves the box. We're still scoreless. We've played nearly 3 minutes. Get it out. Smith bounces the pass up the middle and dribbled away from Weinrich. Gosland's able to play it, and Weinrich has time to spot Andrew Castles coming out of the zone. Sanderson's in ahead of the playoff side. Castles has to wait. He's checked by Muni. Lemieux, who had a 3-point night against the Whalers in late January in that 6-2 Chicago win. On this unit for the Hawks right now, Dan Kesmer pokes it along. Dirk Graham and Lemieux work the boards for Chicago, but the Hawks are forced back at center. Chelios fires it into the skates of Joe Murphy, and Adam Burt takes it. Burt stick handles ahead. Roenick takes him off the puck. Marchment on the move. Trying to step away from Robert Cron with a nice move, and he'll dump it in. Gosselin can't get to it. Marchment gets after his own Duncan. Slides it in behind away from Murphy. Chelios spots Larmer. He lines and fires, and Cron got a skate on that shot. Ivan Corvo picks it up. He's checked by Larmer. The Hawks keep it in as now Gosselin rolls it away from a dangerous spot. Adam Burt checked in the corner by Larmer. Playing his 876th consecutive game tonight. Cron bumped by Larmer. Marchment flips it to center. Gosselin decides to come out to the circle, and he fires it by Jay Shares. A two-line pass over the red line. We're scoreless through 4:19.
Tonight's official Blackhawk hockey program face-off is now on.
Well, Whalers coming off a win last night. You know, this is a minus situation for them, coming in and playing in a tough building where the team you're playing is waiting for you. I'll get to that a little later.
And Russell with a backhander, and Gosselin going to stick on that. He steps out to play it away from Stefan Mussatto. Rob Schick was spilled in the corner, and he's favoring his left leg as the Hawks keep it in. A try toward the net is deflected wide. Mussatto operates against Zelansky. Brent Sutter gets it to Noonan. Trying to dig it out of his skates, a native of South Boston. It was pass dug away by Huda, and away comes Jim McKenzie to flip it into the zone. Russell pressured by Cunneyworth, who zeroes in for the hit. Big Stefan Mussatto goes over 200 pounds on this physical line with Noonan and Sutter. Doug Huda let it go to Cunneyworth. Slides it behind McKenzie. Adam Bennett takes it.
Good shift for Cunneyworth, Gillis, and McKenzie. +1 in the hitting department.
Ruutu flips it in. Gosselin backhands it. Has to play it. Spies Cunneyworth trying to get it out. Too many Hawks on hand is Graham. The Hawk captain shouldered to the boards by Weinrich. Gilbert in a collision with Cunneyworth. Graham trying to stick handle out of the corner. Gives it to Gilbert. Gosselin very active here in the early moments. Couldn't come up with that route. That one is Ruutu centered it. Was hoping a teammate was on hand to take the pass. The Hawks have the only 2 shots in this game. A collision at the side of the goal as Belfour got involved with a Whaler down behind the net. The linesmen come in there to make sure everybody's all right. We got a penalty upcoming as Kiprios is spilled.
Must be interference. Interference against number 3. Watch it right to the left of your screen. He gets the stick into Kiprios. It's not the goaltender Belfort. It is Craig Beauty. Now getting back to that thought, Rick, you know, a lot of times, and it's funny you brought this up, you and I were talking to him a couple years ago, Mike Keenan, on the minus situation your team's in, and this happens to be a minus situation for the Whalers, playing last night where the Hawks are at home resting, whatever, and but the Whalers did a good job early in this game, taking the Hawks out of the crowd out to start with. They bottled up the Hawks in the first 6 minutes. Now they'll go on the power play, and I'm sure Paul Holmgren's very happy that this is a better start for them than they've had in the last few games.
North Stars last night, for example, at the first 7 shots on goal, Gosselin was excellent. The Whalers got settled down in the second period, leading 2-0. But here the Hawks shorthanded. Brent Sutter deflects the shot. They score! On his own rebound, he opens the scoring 15 seconds into the Beauty penalty.
Well, the flaw in this play was at the Whaler blue line when Sutter made that move. But he got it over to Chelios, and Chelios made the return pass. And Sutter just stayed with us. Let's go back a little bit and watch this play develop. Right there. If that doesn't happen, if he's not successful with that move right inside the blue line, then obviously there's no goal.
Assisted by number 7, Chris Chelios, and number 28, Steve Larmer at 6:05.
Sutter scoring from Chelios and Larmer, shorthanded at 6:05. Belfour has trouble with a puck behind the net. That's the 13th goal shorthanded the Whalers have surrendered. The Hawks 14th shorthanded goal they've scored. The Whalers are forced back. Have been scoring a lot of shorthanded goals here at the stadium this year. They're first in the NHL in that category. Verbeek is held up by Chelios. They get the sticks up. We get a whistle. And as Marchment and Castles are kept apart. This officials crew, they're ready for anything with the oft penalized Whalers and the Blackhawks getting together tonight.
Well, they 1-2 in the league, these two outfits. Here's the goal scorer of the game, Brent Sutter. That is his 19th goal, 16th. Good two-way player. There's his brother behind him. I've never had box lacrosse. You ever heard of box lacrosse? It's the only game I've ever played with my brother.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like at the professional level, and they're everywhere.
That's right.
But you know, I think with the Sutters, Rick, once the pucks drop, there is no blood. Well, in fact, there is a lot of blood, but not from one family. Everything's fair once the pucks drop.
A more competitive group in the sport, certainly, as Mark Gregg plays it into Cron. 48 seconds to go on the penalty to Muni. Gregg picks up the pass. He's chased by Troy Murray. It's dropped back to Burke. Over to Kesmer, one timing, and it's off Smith on the rebound. Poulin trying to put it home, and he was shut off by Belfour. Patrick Poulin goes to work with Cron. Kesmer. And Cron is forced back to center by Smith. The Hawks have certainly been lifted by the short-handed goal as they continue an aggressive effort in killing this penalty. Smith has plenty of time to gather himself to backhand it down the ice. Whalers were 1 of 7 on the power play in Minnesota last night. They're 5 of their last 19, and they've been very sharp, really over a 50-game stretch, almost 22% of the power play. Much improved after a dreadful start this year, but not a good penalty here, as here's Larmer shooting, and Gosselin with a save as the penalty to Muni is over. It's wristed in front by Chelios and deflected. It's over Corribo's stick. Brent Sutter has it. Wristing it off a skate as Larmer was cutting by the net. Lemieux puts it in behind. Weinrich takes it. Kiprio's lined up on the head by Jeremy Roenick. Larmer pokes it loose. Weinrich circles in behind the net. Roenick takes it out at center. The Hawks' leading scorer is whistled for an offside as we pause for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel. Here's Roenick speeding ahead. Steps around Castles. He hits Lemieux with a pass. He shoots. They hit the post, and Gosselin reaches back, and he covers it for the whistle as Elwood got through. Diminutive Mario Gosselin.
Good pass by Roenick going through the neutral ice area. Lemieux did not miss a beat in accepting that pass. And the old wrist shot. Left the left leg and drifted. Beats Gosselin. That's a good shot from our camera up above. No goal. This is a strange line. Gosselin, Lemieux. Murphy on the right side and Roenick. We have not seen Larmer and Roenick together this evening. That's Claude Lemieux's brother, Jocelyn Lemieux. Looks a little like Claude. Can't score like Claude.
His Claude's been in the doghouse. New Jersey hasn't been playing all that much for Herb Brooks, with whom he has had disagreements this year. Belfour moving it along. Sanderson knocked down the pass, but the Hawks get it ahead to Ruutu. Chicago leads on a shorthanded goal by Brent Sutter, 1-0. Here's a dump in play by Ruutu. He shoots, a stop by Gosselin. He hangs on.
Too many opportunities for the Hawks. Christian Ruutu, who's having a better year this year than he's had in the past with the Sabres. He's got 16 goals. He gets a break right here. He's going to go up, but Gosselin remains on his feet until the last second. And that allowed him to come across to make the trade to the save. If he goes down early, Ruutu would have a better chance of scoring, but Gosselin stayed up and went laterally with Ruutu to make the save. Good goaltending.
That's twice the Hawk who's dumped it in has been able to retrieve it.
Right.
Off the face-off, Sutter carries it through against Cron on the wraparound. Too many bodies in front. It's chipped toward the net by Muni. Picked up by Poulin. Corribo trying to establish a little forechecking here. Belfour out to play the puck. Corribo in that towards him now as Mussatto and Muni are involved for Chicago. Brent Sutter has it. Fires it to Smith. He's got Noonan with him. Midway through the first with Chicago leading 1-0. The shots are 8-1 Blackhawks as Bennett keeps it in. Gosselin keeps it moving. Penalty upcoming here against the Whalers. Mussatto shoots a stick save by Gosselin. Braun controls, and Schick indicates high sticking. And so the Whalers will be shorthanded. Down 1-0.
Now being outshot 9-1. And you see Weinreich when he went to the ref after the whistle, he was gesturing that Sutter brought the elbow up. That's why the high stick. Watch here, right here. See, there's the elbow by Sutter that brought the stick up. This is a pretty good point.
2 minutes for high sticking at 10-13.
Weinreich sees there's a delayed call. Now he's going to get back in the game right here and go after Sutter. But what he was signaling, Rick, was just during the fact that Sutter brought his arm up and the stick come up with it. But it was 2 minutes for high sticking. I think the Whalers should know from last night's game with Rob Schick as referee, and that you're not going to get away with anything with the stick up above the shoulders. But I was just about to say the Whalers, really, it's a matter of time before this is going to get ugly. That on the scoreboard, they got to take the body. They got to take the initiative.
Hawks win the draw. Bennett and Marchment man the points. Move it around to Roenick. Sutter's in deep. Murphy's in front. Here's Marchment. In behind the aerial. Eludes Brent Sutter. Nick Kiprios plays it to the point. Not out as Marchment kept it in. Murphy from the wing. Marchment winds, fires. It's blocked by Kiprios. Loose puck. Huda's battling for it. Sutter is there. And center against Zanapski. Whalers did a good job. On the first time shorthanded, the Hawks really got into it when they were shorthanded on the goal by Sutter, and they've been hard to hold down ever since. Another penalty upcoming to Hartford. Delayed call. Marchment shoots. Now we get the whistle as Huda and Brent Sutter were tangling in front. We had no whistle with the Hawks controlled, leading me to believe that it was Huda was going on, but I think we might have both.
No, you're right. 100% right, Rick. The original call went to Doug Huda. There was a delayed call on against the Whalers as the Hawks had the puck at their blue line on the power play, but Sutter retaliated, so there'll be calls to each team. There's the original call right now. The hand will go up for cross-checking. No whistle yet. You're right about this. Now watch Sutter in front of the net. He's going to come back right here, take him down, and he'll get the retaliation call. There'll be no advantage here, and that's the goal obviously didn't count as the whistle went seconds before the puck entered the net. So things will stay the same.
Number 27, Doug Huda.
This is a type of game that Paul Holmgren knows all about when he was a Flyer. They had 3 or 4 players that could pick up on what was happening during the game and go out there and take a shot at someone or stirs things up. And right now they're back on their heels. And he knows this, and this guy knows it too, but he's not going to do anything about it. It's in his favor.
Huda for high sticking and Sutter for tripping. The Twin Miners, we've got 1:10 to go on the penalty to Eric Weinreich. Just under 9 minutes remaining in the first period with Chicago in front 1-0. We continue with a 5-on-4, and it's Roenick with speed through that neutral ice zone. Chelios gets the puck to Smith. Winners of Sanderson and Castles in front of Ladouceur and Burt on the penalty killing unit. Smith's drive is blocked by Castles. Burt goes to the corner. Noonan digs it out. Slides it back to Smith. Chelios. Tees it up, lets it go. Castle slowed it down, and it's backhanded away by Sanderson, allowing for a change with 33 seconds on the penalty. Here's Chelios. Sends it in. Gosselin is able to set it up for Adam Burke. Lays it high off the glass and down the ice.
Not a good shooting by Chelios. There was not much velocity in that effort. It was easy for the Whalers to control.
We're down to 10 seconds in the Weinreich call, and Chelios has a little more pace on this dump in. Kesmer locks up with Rutu. It's played back to the point. Chelios fires, saved by Gosselin. The rebound is there for the taking. Lemieux is stopped by Gosselin. Jocelyn Lemieux in deep to Rutu. Weinrich's return. Here's Noonan shooting. It's deflected wide. Verbeek takes it. Slides it over to Cron. He's shouldered out of there by Lemieux. Kept in by Chelios. Smith with a wrist shot. Glove by Gosselin. He wants a whistle. His bodies are bumping all over the ice. Lemieux and Verbeek begin to go at it, and the officials try to calm everybody down. 7:24 to go in the first. The Hawks in front 1-0.
Gosselin will make the save, and he'll get up. They'll make a save later on. Right there. You know what's good about Gosselin, the way he's playing? Watch the action in front. This is after the whistle. Now, here's what I mean. If you walk away from that push by Joslin, you're wrong. And Pat Verbeek certainly isn't going to walk away, as we just saw. They both got 2 minutes for roughing. But I'm particularly enjoying Goslin's play as he's working to stay on his feet. We talk about it all the time on the bus and everything. You got to work to stay on your feet. And that second save, he really worked to get his balance and enable him to make the second save.
We bumped into Mario walking out of the Met Center last night, and he wasn't spending a whole lot of time savoring the victory. He talked immediately about coming in here and facing this type of barrage. The shots are 13-1 Chicago. Weinrich and Sanderson. Zalapsky and Castles on the ice. This 4-on-4 situation. Sutter and Hood are still in the box. Here's Zalapsky across to Sanderson. It's picked off by Smith. Rodick taps it ahead. Mussatto hooks it back, and Castles takes it. Zalapsky had a goal and an assist last night. So did Sanderson. Hawks circle with it. Whalers want to change up. Rodick lays it there for Smith. He shoots into a crowd. A save by Gosselin with Kesmer and Mussatto involved in front of the net. 44 seconds to go on the minors to Lemieux and Verbeek. Kesmer on the move. Shoots toward the net. Belfour turns it aside for Steve Larmer. He's cornered by Cron. Beauty comes in there to belt Cron from behind. He'll get a penalty as the Hawks are about to control. So with 5:52 remaining here in the first period, Craig Beauty is not happy with a call, but he hit Cron from behind and into the boards.
You know, when Beauty hit Cron, I mean, you saw, watch Cron right now, both shoulders facing the boards. Here's the hit. Well, stay with it. If we can stay with it, he's going to look at the ref once the call, he's going to shake his head. Well, there's no question about this. You know, we're going to go a little farther this after the hit. I mean, what the heck? You're not supposed to hit the guy like this. Now, watch him look at, we're going to see this. Look, watch this. See, he just shakes his head. I mean, stay away from that situation. Once a guy puts his shoulders to the boards, you do not hit him. I mean, come on, and at least don't shake your head after that. It's a penalty.
Beauty goes for boarding at 14:08. 28 seconds remain on the calls to Verbeek and Lemieux. So it's a 4-on-3 skater advantage for Hartford. The Whalers' second power play opportunity. And Brent Sutter will try to win this draw from Andrew Castles, who has Sanderson, Zalapsky, and Weinrich on with him. Sutter controls for Chelios. Larmer is also on this group. 2 forwards and a defenseman for Daryl Sutter.
We're seeing this an awful lot. Last night we saw it in Minnesota.
Castles flips it to Zalapsky. Weinrich. The Whalers are slowed up in the center ice zone. The pass back to Sutter. He lines, he fires. It's blocked by Zalapsky. Sutter has a shorthanded goal to open the scoring in this hockey game tonight. Larmer circles. Now Verbeek and Lemieux come out of the box. It's a 5-on-4 for the Whalers with 1:25 to go in the penalty. Verbeek takes the pass from Zalapsky. Sanderson cuts in. He's shut off by Chelios, who clears. Lemieux and Verbeek are still going at it behind the play. Zalapsky's pass knocked down by Dirk Graham, and Kulnas stepped into him. Zalapsky hurried by Graham. Weinrich can't get it by Graham. He operates with Ruutu. Whalers are in the process of changing personnel on this power play, which has 48 seconds to run. Mark Gregg steams up the wing, drops it. Patrick Kulak cuts it, shoots. Belfour to save. The rebound is played away by the Hawk goaltender to the corner. Gregg finds Cron. Out to Burt. Rushed by Graham. Chelios is time to try to clear. Knocked down by Burt. He tried to connect with Cron. Chelios works it free. Robert Cron gets over there for it. Smith checked by Fulham, and he bounces it out of the zone. The Whalers were changing at the point position as Kesmer comes on for Eric Weinrich. 10 seconds on the penalty. The Whalers are driven back as Burt turns away from Troy Murray. Out of the box comes Craig Muni as the Hawks are back to full strength with their 1-0 lead intact. 3:45 to go in the first period. Lemieux on the hit with Janssens. Janssens goes down. Murray drives it on goal. Gosselin the save. Corriveau gets it to Kyprios. He flips it to the corner. Belfort takes a look. Sets it up for Marchment. Big Stu Grimson. The Grim Reaper's on the way. Huda takes out Murray. Grimson has the puck.
He's a crowd favorite. There's no question about that, the Grim Reaper. They love him here at the stadium.
Huda shoots it in. Cam Russell comes by, gets a shoulder for his efforts from Corriveau. Rodick looking for room to roam at center. Held up by the Whalers defense. Corriveau goes down into the boards at the Hawk bench as he tried to play that puck into the corner of the Chicago zone. Whalers have Cunnyworth, Gillis, and McKenzie on the ice. Ladouceur winds, fires. It's wide of Belfort.
One of the hardest hitters for the Blackhawks is Jeremy Roenick, their leading point scorer.
Here is Roenick. Joe Murphy with a head of steam. Fires from the angle. A stick save by Gosselin. Roenick checked by Weinrich. Murphy trying to maneuver in front. Ladouceur played it well. Gosselin out to play it. Now we got the battle brewing behind the net. As Murphy is tackled by Ladouceur. Noonan tries to get in there. Cunnyworth attempts to keep him out of it. And the linesman trying to separate Ladouceur and Joe Murphy. 2:15 to go here in the first period. Let's pause for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel.
Didn't you at least call me?
Yeah, drops it back for Smith. Over to Chelios. Jansen's out on him. Roenick to Smith. He'll fire, and it's knocked down by Gosselin with a blocker. Sutter out of the corner. Stick handling in front. A nice poke check by Gosselin. Larmer fires, and it's deflected perhaps by Gosselin. Over the net, off the glass, and Chelios is forced back.
I think you're right, Rick. Larmer knew he had to get it up, and I think it hit the goose in the shoulder.
Tough carom off the glass support. Gosselin nervously watched that puck dribble near the goal line. Here's Smith with a wrist shot. Bird blocked it. He turns and clears.
The only bad part about that save by Gosselin off the arm was that no one saw it. He didn't get credit for it. Almost ripped his arm off. I used to hate that plain goal.
Chelios banks it off the glass. Huda taps it loose. He pursues and encounters Ruutu. Mussatto had it poked away by Verbeek, and the Hawks are forced to center once again. Whalers have taken care of the first minute 15 of this penalty. We're inside a minute to go in the period. Now Verbeek getting involved with Chelios near the Whaler bench as the Hawks bring it into the zone. It's centered, but Verbeek got back to take it away. And the Hawks will have to reorganize now. 30 seconds on the extra penalty, being served by Gregg. Steve Smith lumbers through center, and he's preceded into the zone. The play is whistled out offside.
Ex-Oilers Steve Smith. You know, he's been paired with Chelios for the most of this year, but all of a sudden we walk in here and Keith Brown's out. Kuchera's out. Now they broke them up, so at equal strength. Of course, in this building, you don't play equal strength very often. He is paired with someone else.
Very, very solid all-around game.
Yeah, he's good. He really utilizes his reach. He stands up in the blue line. Probably one of the best guys in standing up at his own blue line.
18 seconds on the penalty. 30 seconds remaining in the period. Jeff Sanderson has the puck. Ian Castles maneuver ahead. Castles cuts in. Troy Murray takes over. He had a nice 9-year run here in Chicago Stadium before moving along to Winnipeg last year. Russell sails into the corner. Gregg is out of the box. Whalers kill the penalty. 10 seconds to go in the period. Adam Burt hits his man. Castle's trying to dig the puck out, or at least prevent Graham from doing so. Whalers keep the play behind that net. And there is the siren ending the first period. A number of power play chances, a total of 5 for the two teams. But Mario Gosselin under fire once again as the Whalers are outshot 16-3. They trail, though, just by the count of 1-0. Our intermission activities are upcoming, so don't go away.
Having a party.
Play at Chicago Stadium in just a moment. As they go about trying to come back from a 1-0 deficit. Against Ed Belfour, who was in net for that 6-2 win over the Whalers in January. His career mark against Hartford, 3-1.
He's got a nice helmet and cage there, doesn't he? He's got an eagle.
Yep.
Is his nickname the Eagle? It's not a Blackhawk. It's an eagle. His nickname's Eddie the Eagle, I think. Or is that the guy in the Olympics?
Yeah, the ski jumper from England.
Who's barred the next Olympics.
That's right.
Poor guy. Maybe they thought.
Maybe he'll try another sport.
Maybe they thought that his next jump he just might not come down.
That's true. Here's Mark Jansen's tugged at by Steve Smith. Muni trying to rub out Kyprios, and Kyprios just keeps going. Gregg and Gilbert battle in the corner. Gilbert chips at it. Jansen's backhands it behind the net. Kyprios still in pursuit. Stumbles with Muni right on his heels. Dirk Graham is met by Jansen's. Get a hard-hitting start to this second period. Christian Ruutu maneuvers in against Adam Burt. Weinrich picks it up. Stops against Graham. And leaves him in his dust as he carries the puck to center. 4 Hawks across the blue line. Gilbert runs into Weinrich. Jansen's digs it loose. He collides with Ruutu. They're both expecting a whistle, and finally they get one from referee Rob Schick. Celtics are back on the parquet floor tomorrow night when they host the Sacramento Kings. Our coverage of the action begins at 7 p.m. with the Celtics pregame show and continues at 7:30 with live Boston Celtics basketball here on Sports Channel.
That was a hard opening minute, Rick, and the players wanted the whistle more than Schick. Schick was, he was caught somewhere there, but both Jansen's and Ruutu were just waiting for the whistle and gladly would accept the whistle. Jeff Sanderson having a banner year, 41 goals, 19 power play goals.
And Jeff's been doing it for a while, 17 goals in his last 18 games. Off the draw, out comes Murphy. Stops against Solamsky. The pass is deflected. Castles gets a skate boot on it. Lobs it ahead for Sanderson. He'll steam in against Chelios. And Chelios snuffs out the play. Huda waits for the zone to clear. Belfour gets out to handle it. He's got Murphy waiting on the wing. He flips it back inside the Whaler line. Gosselin keeps it away from the charging Larmer. The puck is loose to the side, and Gosselin plops on it. They get the stoppage in play.
Here's his line now. Roenick, Murphy, and Larmer. To me, it's putting all your eggs in one basket type thing.
I think Darryl Sutter toyed with the idea of moving Larmer to left wing, as both he and Murphy are left-hand shots, and so that Murphy could play the right side. I think he's got a flip-flop there to see what he's got.
I know I do. I'd make Murphy the second centerman. I'd leave Larmer and Roenick together. I mean, you can't knock success. Trying guys to find someone to fit in with Murphy. Murphy's a highly skilled player who was the best player for the Oilers one year of their playoff of their Stanley Cup win.
Yeah, he had a line with Martin Jelena and Adam Graves. What a terrific playoff they had. Whaler penalty upcoming. A shot by Mussatto is fired wide as Bennett slides it in behind the net. Delayed call against Hartford for the action in front of the net. I think Kron's going off. Noonan shoots and it's kicked away. Noonan hangs on to it. 6 attackers on for Chicago. Bennett flips tips it over the glass and out of play. And the hold is indicated by Schick here at 1:52 as Cron heads off.
Now the Whalers are taking too many of these penalties. This is a hold, and sooner or later they're not going to have anything in the well. You just can't expect to kill penalty after penalty after. I know the Chicago power play is struggling and all that, but
2 minutes for holding at 1:52.
play with those matches and get burned occasionally.
2 minutes for holding at 1:52.
Paul Holmgren has seen his penalty killing unit excel now in the first period tonight, certainly last night against the North Stars. But as you say, sooner or later you could be in trouble. Paul opens up with Janssens and Kyprios, Weinrich and Ladouceur in the penalty killing unit. Ladouceur drives it down the ice. Chelios takes it. He and Smith work behind center. Murphy and Jeremy Roenick. Murphy cuts in, dropping it back for Smith. Murphy gets to it. He's checked by Ladouceur. Weinrich helps out along the boards. Murphy, though, gets it to Smith again, wristing it to the side for Roenick. He's knocked over by Weinrich. The crowd wanted a penalty there as Janssens flips it out of the zone. Weinrich and Kyprios on the rush. Sutter hustled back to even things out for Chicago. 1:17 to go on the holding penalty to Cron. Hawks lead 1-0. Ruutu on the power play now with Larmer. Roenick fires toward the net, deflected away by Huda, and he will send the Hawks back.
Roenick was giving Schick a little lip on his way out.
Ruutu and just 4 goals for the Sabres last year. As Jerry mentioned, he's putting up better numbers this year, and he gets involved with Huda, who is looking for a penalty as the Whalers send the Hawks back, and the Hawks have not really threatened here with 40 seconds to go on the penalty. Chelios shoots it in. Taken by Sanderson, and he turns and clears it up.
The faithful are getting a little antsy.
Pass deflected by Verbeek. Bennett has to turn back for it. Cunneyworth in to pressure him. Bennett gets it to Lemieux. Slowed up by Ladouceur. Bennett takes it. Cuts in on Weinrich. Shoot! Save by Gosselin. He checked to make sure the puck was still there, and he covers for the whistle with 4 seconds remaining on Cron's penalty.
Well, that was the only shot of the power play for the Hawks. 1:56. And here's the rookie Bennett. A little goose right out on top of the crease to make the save. I would suggest the Whalers somehow start shooting the puck in and taking the body. It's the only way they're going to get into this game. I know it's 1-0 and it's, you know, they're in good shape. But still, they got to sooner or later attack and get some opportunities. They had one good shot in 24 minutes, and that was a wrist shot by Patrick Poulin near the end of the first period.
Whaler fans know the Whalers have had these slow starts lately. Here's the shot by Bennett. Gosselin with a save as Cron leaves the box, and the pass is sent by Ladouceur behind him. Russell back. And they're going to blow the whistle for the icing call with 4 minutes gone here in the second period. Open an ice cold Budweiser and enjoy that fresh, pure, natural taste. Nothing beats a Bud. Andrew Castle's on the rush. Verbeek just preceded him into the zone offside.
Andy Castles just missed Verbeek going down there. He just put his head up a little late. Verbeek had to step on his man, had the defenseman beat. Pat Verbeek doesn't show much emotion in that situation, but he knew he had a great opportunity here. And Andy Castle doesn't miss this play often, but he missed this particular one.
Here are the career numbers against the Blackhawks for Pat Verbeek. Well, as a key member of that big line, has 17 goals in his last 23 games. Stan Kesmer back for the puck. Fires it to Castles, and they're on the rush again. He gets it to Sanderson, back to Castles. Larmer takes over in the corner. He just dumps it out. Kesmer sees he has Roenick after him. Chelios knocked down the clearing attempt. Sanderson gave it up. Larmer steps in quickly with Lemieux. Lemieux stops, fires in front, and Verbeek tapped it away from Roenick. Marchman backhanded the puck into the zone as Sanderson fires it ahead, trying to connect with Cunneyworth on a change. Dumped in by Cassidy. Chelios out for Brian Noonan. He had a couple of goals in New York against the Rangers the other night. He's rubbed out here by Zanavsky. Lemieux belted by Doug Huda. Brent Sutter, who has the game's only goal, fires in front. Gillis on the scene to take it. All a very short stint with the Blackhawks before coming to the Whalers. McKenzie let that puck leave the zone. They wave off icing and Belfour's out to play it. Sutter ahead to Noonan. Gosselin has time to come out and handle it. Mussatto, though, steaming in on Zanavsky. Gosselin moves it to the other side to Cunneyworth. Paul Gillis out ahead for McKenzie. Broken up by Muni. Hawks are offside. Muni won't touch it. As a result, Graham looks up ice for Chicago. Sends it in off the Whalers defense. Zanavsky pressured by Stefan Mussatto. From behind the net, Ruutu trying to cut out in front. Fires through the goal mouth as Mussatto was in front of Zanavsky, but could do nothing with a pass. Zanavsky around to Gillis. He struggles to clear against Gilbert and does so. And this will be icing as Muni is back.
The Whalers are hanging, and I guess that's not a bad position to be in, but that thread's getting awful thin. I think Paul Holger and his staff have done really a terrific job keeping this team competitive. It's been a long time since they've really been out of the playoffs, regardless of the official of it. And they've worked very hard, and I know you're working towards next year. And there's a lot of things the staff's going to find out, and the management's going to find out about who's going to be here, how they react in buildings such as this and in games such as this.
Roy Murray and Cron on this face-off. Robert pulls it to the corner. Ladouceur cannot backhand it by Gilbert. Ladouceur worked over in that corner, but Randy's able to get a whistle. And they'll drop the puck once again. The shots are 19-3, Chicago 3-0 in this period. As we played 26 minutes of hockey tonight, there is the veteran Randy Ladouceur. Fought many a battle in this building with the Detroit organization as well as with the Whalers.
You know who's in this building tonight, Rick? Mike Keenan makes his first appearance since voluntarily leaving or being forced to leave. He is here. He's sitting next to Brian Burke, as a matter of fact. There they are up there. Mike Keenan on the right. He's the GM of Team Canada in the upcoming World Championships, and Brian Burke is the general manager of Team USA in the upcoming World Championships. That's one business you can't make any trades in.
That's right. Weinrich on the outlet to Poulin. He's checked by Muni. Hawks keep it around the Whalers net. Cron picks it up. He has room to step out of the zone. He speeds in, lets the shot go. He fans on it. Smith left it in the corner. Poulin checked by Grimson. Makes the play back to Weinrich. He fires. Saved by Belfour. And he gloves it. And Belfour sees his first shot in quite a while. Only his fourth in the game.
And really, the Chicago defense did a good chance once the puck ended up on the point to allow Belfour to make the save. You know, the Hawks have Belfour, and this guy's a hard competitor, is a winner. And they also have a very good other goalie in Jim Waite, who I guess as we sit around in the hot stove league and talk, he is certainly to be a goalie picked in the expansion draft next year. There's Jim Waite, a young French person.
Tough to scout him for the new teams coming in next year. He's only played one of the last 13 games.
No, I think the new teams know about Jim Waite.
Kesmer for the point. His shot is off the pads of Belfour, and he has an easy time in covering it. And once again, that Hawk defense taking care of business. Kyprios and Adam Bennett have a bit of a disagreement there. But Daryl Sutter has been looking for more intensity, as he stated in our between periods interview. His team has lost 2 out of 3 here at home. And They're looking at a bit of a longer stretch. 2 wins in their last 6 here at Chicago Stadium, where they've been very dominant for much of the season.
Very dominant for an awful long time in this building.
Kesmer off the faceoff, fires into a crowd. It's off an ankle and bounces to Bennett. He's checked by Kyprios. Larmer grabbed by Greg. Roenick takes the puck. He's got Murphy with him. Murphy steams in. He's shut off by Adam Bird. Larmer spins away from Mark Gregg. Murphy has it. Trying to step out of the corner. Bumped by Gregg. Adam Bird. Stick handles out for the Whalers. Still, it's a 1-0 game. 12.5 to go in the second period. Kyprios hurrying Belfour. He sends it off the ledge of the board. Zanapski drives it right back in. Whalers get the Verbeek, Castles, and Sanderson line on in front of Zanapski and Huda. And Castles cuts in. Sanderson right behind him. Gets the drop pass. And he tried to feed it back to Verbeek. Angles it to Castles. He's bowled over by Bennett. And the youngster will go off for the penalty, and the Whalers get a power play chance to try to stir something up offensively in this contest. With just about 8 minutes gone in the period.
You know, at the start of the shift, it looked like something might happen in the Whalers' favor as the Hawks had Bennett and Russell out there. And watch behind the net. Castle's trying to get away, and he finally goes down. And the rookie Bennett, Adam Bennett.
7:55. Blackhawk penalty, Bennett, 2 minutes for holding the stick.
Boy, that guy holding the stick. Look at the guy in the box with Bennett. He looks like a hockey player. He is maybe just apprenticing as a penalty box custodian.
And they've got a long-time crew here at the stadium, and the new building is looking pretty good across the street. They're moving right along there. Pat Verbeek on this power play chance, number 3 for Hartford. Zanapski and Weinrich to the point. The pass in front. The save by Belfour as Castles might have tipped that shot by Weinrich. Zanapski leads it to Sanderson. Chased by Marchment. Castles lets it go to Verbeek in deep. Out to Sanderson. Zanapski fans in his shot attempt with Graham out on him. Sanderson back to Zanapski. Around to Weinrich. To Sanderson, quick shot, Belfour the save. And he sweeps it behind the net with Castles. And Verbeek right in there battling, and it's cleared away by Graham. A minute 12 to go on the holding the stick penalty to Adam Bennett. Robert Cron on this Whaler power play sails into the corner. Verbeek trying to get there. Beauty had the angle. Sanderson takes on Sutter. Smith chops it along. Zanapski trying to hold it in, and the puck just dribbles out over the line. And Kesmer, who had 1 goal in Springfield in nearly half a season, gets called up and has 4 for the Hartford Whalers. Here's Poulas shooting it in. Belfour with Greg right on him. Gets it loose to Smith. Braun trying to dig it out of his skates. Sutter takes over on it, and it's clear down the ice. 25 seconds remaining on the Whaler power play chance, trailing 1-0, nearing the midway point of tonight's hockey game. Belfour lets that go. Marchman trying to get there. Jay Sherris took a good look, and the Whalers won the race, so there's no icing. Kesmer sends it off the glass. Marchman pursues. As the penalty time just about up, and the Hawks, after a little flurry to start with in that power play chance for Hartford, hold off the Whalers and protect the 1-0 lead. Kyprios steams ahead, McKenzie with him. Kyprios trying to cut in front on Marchman, and it's poked away as Chelios went to work on Kyprios from behind. Troy Murray couldn't handle the pass. However, Lemieux hustles in there, picks it up, lobs it in the goal mouth, and it's covered by Gosselin, and we get the whistle. Let's pause for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel. For Roenick, he stepped away from Janssens. The try toward the net. Ladouceur blocked it. Kyprios had it work free. It's Steve Smith out ahead for Larmer. Steps inside Weinrich. Lets the shot go, and it's deflected to the corner. Weinrich hurried in there by Murphy. Roenick follows up. Janssens puts a stop to that. Weinrich tapped it up the boards, and Muni plays it back into the corner. Jim McKenzie involved in that corner along with Muni. Officials look on, not much movement going on. The fans are waiting for the whistle to blow or something to come loose. And the Hawks get into Noonan shooting, and a stick save by Gosselin. Corvo backhands it away. Now in front of the net, Ladouceur will be whistled for interfering with Jeremy Roenick just as Gosselin made that stop here at the 11:30 mark of the second period.
You saw Schick's signal interference. Once again, the players expecting a whistle along the boards. It never happened. Rob Schick wanting the play to continue. Just watch at the top of your screen.
At 11:30.
I think the Whalers have really seen enough of Rob Schick last night and tonight, and I really don't believe, and I know there's circumstances where it has to happen, that a team, I don't care what team or what the circumstances, should get the same referee 2 games in a row. I know that budget says it's the best, and he worked in Minnesota.
Don't really know the mechanics that go into these assignments, but it is a rare situation. As the Hawks are in the power play for the 5th time in this game, they really have produced very little in the way of opportunities when they've had the man advantage. Their chances have come at even strength. They're even shorthanded. Their goal came shorthanded. Parchment drives it in. Gosselin plays it. Troy Murray right there on the scene, trying to dig it loose, and it's cleared away by Huda. Chelios compacts the play, turns it back to Murray. Troy Murray shoots into a crowd. A save by Gosselin. Brent Sutter was right on the doorstep. Now with the Whalers changing up, Chelios slips it ahead. Mussatto shoots, and it's gloved by Gosselin. He'll hang on. 1:12 to go, and the Ladouceur penalty with the Hawks in front 1-0. Have an injury.
Yeah, Brent Sutter wearing a shield. Sutters don't wear shields. It's like in the movie, baseball players don't cry.
He's got a broken orbital bone right around the eye area. He's had a problem with broken bones this year. Ruutu waits, feeds it at the side. Mussatto back to Ruutu, with traffic in front. Shoots. Gosselin fights off the shot and covers it as Lemieux and Mussatto were battling for position out in front. 53 seconds to go in the penalty.
And the early part of this power play, right? The Hawks had Troy Murray, Dirk Graham. Now they got Lemieux and Mussatto. Good job here by the Whaler defense. Weinrich on the left of the goaltender. Or to the right of the goaltender, I should say. They haven't had Stu Grimson's on the power play now. Yoy.
53 seconds to go on the interference call to Randy Ladouceur. We get a little movement around the circle, and Deschères waits for everyone to get settled down. Drops the puck. Hawks control. Chelios to Smith. Others of Janssens and Kyprios up front killing the penalty. Burt and Weinrich defensively. Smith looks, fires, he scores!
Well, we made a little fun of Grimson being on the power play, but Coach Sutter knew what he wanted. He wanted a guy in front of the net. And let's see. You'll see Grimson in front of the net. This puck is bouncing a little bit. You see it's on edge, and here's a shot by Smith. I don't believe this touched anyone. If it did touch someone, it might have touched Mussatto. We'll take a look again. You see that? He had good wood on this for a puck standing. Well, I don't know, Rick. From that angle, it seemed they might have changed directions. Nevertheless, it was a good move by Joe Sutter, putting Grimson in front of the net.
He went through his entire lineup trying to get that kind of execution on the power play as Lemieux is dumped by Huda. And it's lifted in behind the net. 2-0 Chicago now with under 7 minutes to go in the second period. Verbeek tips it, but not out. It's kept in by Marchment. Polanski tries the other side. It does clear. Chelios wrists it in. Knocked down. Ruled not to be with a high stick by Zalapsky. He's trying to spring Sanderson. Chelios took care of that. Sanderson circles.
Well, you just can't get by Chelios in any area of the ice. He is just so quick and got great eye-hand coordination. He knocks everything down.
He knows where to be. Anticipates everything. Noonan checked by Sanderson. Murray knocks over Sanderson. Noonan goes down. And the puck comes free in front. It's taken by Verbeek. And behind the play, we've got a penalty here as Verbeek was upset. And now as Belfour controls, hooking will be the indication against Chicago.
I just think looking at Troy Murray, he's going to be the culprit that goes. But now that he plays for the Hawks, right, like you mentioned earlier, he got traded to, is he an ex-Hawk or a Hawk? I can't figure that. I mean, if you come back to the team that traded you to somewhere else, I don't know. But anyway, right there, there's the old hook right there.
Well, it is Smith's goal on the power play at 12:50 from Chelios and Ruutu for the 2-0 Chicago lead. Murray for hooking at 14:01, and the Whalers have their 4th power play chance.
I guess really it'd be ex-Jet Troy Murray.
Yeah, no, it's a special category. When you spend 9 out of your 10 years in one city, then come back to that one city.
It's tough to put a label on it, I guess.
Hope you're not going to lose any sleep over that one.
Well, we like to know these things.
A steal by Sutter, cuts in, saved by Gosselin as Kesmer gave it up, and Sutter walked right in looking for his second shorthanded goal of the night. Kesmer, rink wide to Gregg. Gaining speed, topped at by Smith. Fires it back around to Kesmer. In deep to Gregg. Robert Crom. Operating with Gregg and Poulin up front. Burt and Kesmer are the point men. Burt in from the blue line. He's belted by Smith, and it's cleared away. 1:12 to go on the Troy Murray hooking penalty. Just over 5 minutes to go in the second period. Shots for the game are 25-7 Chicago. Here's Castles cutting it, dropping it. Verbeek line fires, and Marchment blocked it. Chelios and a step away from Verbeek and Castles, going down, trying to encourage a call, none forthcoming. Castles and behind to Sanderson and out to Weinrich. Rushed by Graham, and Weinrich is forced to center. Verbeek looks for Castles, and the play is offside as he got tangled up with Marchment, preceding the play with 40 seconds to go on the Whalers power play chance, and a big one here as they're down 2-0 against the stingy Hawks.
Well, this is the best the Hawks have been in killing penalties tonight. They've made the Whaler power play just so ineffective. At least in the earlier power play, I believe it was this period or at the end of the last period, the Whalers had some opportunities, but not here. Brent Sutter actually, he made a good try in his break right here as he's going to make the interception. Puts on a little burst of speed. Gosselin once again refuses to go with the original move and drags the one leg to make the save.
Zalapsky gets the puck to Pat Verbeek. Weinrich. Chelios steals the puck and flips it down the ice. 22 seconds on the penalty. Zalapsky slides it behind Castles. Mussatto catches up to the play. Stefan Mussatto drives it off the board.
You know, Rick, I would think that near the trade deadline, before the trade deadline, the Hawks were really active, certainly with Murphy and Muni. I think one of the players.
Muni won the race for the puck for the icing call. Kyprios right at his heels, and Kyprios and Smith are joined.
I don't think anything will develop here, but I would think one of the players that brought the most interest would be Mussatto. And I think you know, obviously the Hawks did not want to part with Stefan Mussatto, but I'm sure that his name is the name that come up more than anyone when Hawks talk trade.
Well, he's unusual among this group of Hawk forwards because he's got youth on his side. He's only 23. He's got the size, 13 goals, has seen some power play time. Production not great, but he's a grinded out type of guy. You like those going into the playoffs.
In this ring.
Yes. 2 seconds left in the penalty off the icing call. The Whalers are having a tougher and tougher time making those passes click as this game moves along. Here's Kesmer with help from Burt. It's by Kyprios. This will be icing once again as Murray's left the box. And we get the whistle with 3:51 remaining in the second period. The Hawks kill the penalty to keep a 2-0 lead intact.
The Whalers really aren't going in the right direction. That was not a good power play. That's the bad news. The good news, whoops.
Larmer shoots, cranks one over the net and off the glass. Off the Roenick feed. Here's a 2-on-1. Corvo trying to get it over to Cunningham. Couldn't get it by Smith. Ladouceur drives it in as the forwards get back on side.
So that was the bad news, Rick. The good news is the fact that they're still in this game very much. Only 2-0.
Gosselin out to play. There's Larmer shooting with Gosselin down at the side of the goal, and he missed the net. Centering pass is tipped out by Gillis. Smith to Roenick. Larmer firing, and it's blocked by Ladouceur. Gillis picks it up. And he'll flip it out of play next to the penalty boxes. Here's the Iron Man. He told you, game number 876 in a row tonight.
He's 35 goals this year.
His 9th year with 30 or more. Mr. Consistency.
I'll tell you, he's a guy that you go to a game, watch the Hawks play, and you go have a beer after, and you say, geez, Steve Harvey wasn't very sharp tonight. And your buddy will say, well, he got 2 goals and an assist.
So you saw by that graphic, he has been on the score sheet a lot against the Whalers in his career. They did keep him off in that January meeting, but he had 3 assists. He didn't score in that particular night. Mario Gosselin now being attended to, or at least discussing things with Rob Schick. He was spilled at the side of the goal on that last Larmer attempt from a sharp angle. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Hartford Whalers and the National Hockey League and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Hartford Whalers, the NHL, and Sports Channel is prohibited. Announcers on this broadcast are selected by Sports Channel and approved by the Hartford Whalers.
We'll see what happened to Gosselin as he fielded the puck and tried to get back in the net. I think he bumped into Randy Ladouceur. Oh yeah, boy, this is one thing when I played. I hated falling that way. Of course, we didn't have the big helmets then.
Solamski gets the puck to his partner Huda. Greg chops at it. Brent Sutter feeds to the side. It's Mussatto. Fires in front. Cron picked it off. Mark Gregg sails it down the ice. And Bennett strides and gets there ahead of Kulak for the icing call as the Whalers are trying to get it out of the zone and get it out of any potential trouble. They really have not been able to muster any attack except for early in their most recent power play chance. That was about it.
I'm sure Paul Holmgren is very much concerned right now. And you know, one thing, and you don't do in hockey, you got to stay away from saying, oh, we played last night, we're the tired team. It doesn't work in this game. It doesn't work in any sport. There are only excuses if you really want to use them. There is no excuse.
Bennett wrists it toward the net. It hit Jansen's on the shoulder. Grimson trying the fancy trick shot. Kesmer got it away, but not out. Bennett had it slapped out of his grasp, though, by Jansen. As Grimson and McKenzie near the benches, and they're going to go. Well behind the play. The two heavyweights get ready to rumble.
I don't know if they're going to get loose or not. This is like going to a heavyweight fight and you paid $500 for a front row and not many punches thrown. Not yet.
Well, we're in the 12th round.
And we've covered a lot of ground.
This is an equipment manager's nightmare with the jersey tugging going on, but that's about it.
They finally said, "Ah, the heck with it." Both shaking their head. I don't think this was a record in distance. I'm sure both guys are disappointed they didn't get loose. Jim went right after him near the bench area. This is this has got to be delaying the game somewhere along the line. I don't know what the penalties will be. Certainly can't be roughing.
Can you get a misconduct for that?
Yeah, I don't know. But if they call it roughing, that's not fair to the game and to the call itself. And I know that both players are disappointed that nothing materialized out of this.
Now the coaches are saying, "Mine."
That's the way it goes. They both finally get down in the corner and just, "Ah, the heck with it."
Rob Schick has sent them to the dressing rooms. Of course, we only have 2:18 to go in the second period.
So it's not minors.
No.
It's not the minor each. Let's listen.
Number 33, Jim McKenzie, 4 minutes for roughing. Blackhawk penalty, number 23, Stu Grimson, 4 minutes for roughing at 17:42. Hartford penalty, McKenzie, 4
Rob
minutes for
Schick was
roughing.
pretty generous there.
Grimson, 4 minutes for roughing.
4 minutes each for roughing, and the Hawks trying to center hit the back of the goal. Lemieux is battling Hartford out in front. Now it's Larmer in the goal mouth with Kesmer. Bennett winds, fires. It's snared by Gosselin. Was going wide, and he says, "Let's get started again." Now Kyprios comes over to give Larmer a shot, and that's going to bring about a reaction. And it looks like a pretty good chain reaction on the part of both teams getting involved here. Janssens and Russell separate as Janssens goes down. Adam Bennett and Kyprios are leaning in on that matchup.
Some pretty big boys out there in this little ruckus.
Done yet. Randy Cunneyworth is steamed at Schick, and now Cunneyworth takes a shot at Larmer. I think Cunneyworth was on his way to the dressing room. Now we got Russell and Kyprios trying to get loose. Ron Finn stays in with them, and he's going to let him go. He has to. Kyprios going with the left. Russell trying to go with the right hand. Center is going. He's got Jocelyn Lemieux, and they're firing punches. Two separate battles. Cunneyworth says, if I'm going to go, I'm going to get my money's worth. And he's trying to go with the right hand, and he's doing a good job with Lemieux as you watch Russell and Kyprios. Lemieux goes down at center with Cunneyworth on top of him. Now they're gone for the game, and I think that was established with Randy before they actually got involved. But Russell and Kyprios are separated, and Schick is talking to Cunneyworth and Lemieux.
A couple good goes here. I remember Randy Cunneyworth coming up as a rookie with the Buffalo Sabres. He was a tough dude. He could really throw.
Well, he's played very little, one game in his last 16, and he gets right involved in this one.
Yep.
I'll tell you, there's the man you referred to in this building earlier, Mike Keenan, goes back from when this guy started his pro career. He could throw him pretty good.
Well, obviously, an important part of this is what the calls would be. It seemed that Cunneyworth was getting an initial call for maybe punching or pushing Lemieux before the fight actually got underway. So it'll be interesting to see how this is called. But you know, with the Whalers trailing 2-0, you know, the most important part when we see all this and witness all this is the game itself. And the Whalers are down 2 and actually going nowhere. All right, they're skating into the wind. So this can't help from the Whalers' perspective. It can't hurt, I should say, from the Whalers' perspective. And maybe it's I don't know. It can't hurt. I mean, they're going nowhere anyway in this hockey game. So it's
no spark tonight at this point.
So maybe this is something that may spark them. And that's the way I look at it. And I know you don't like seeing this in hockey. I'll never. This is not good for hockey. I don't mind seeing a good fight, but still, you got to figure out what it takes to win a game at times. And hopefully that was the intention by the Whalers in this particular incident.
A minute 54 to go here in the second period, and Rob Schick talks it over with Dirk Graham, the captain of the Hawks, and Pat Verbeek, the captain of the Hartford Whalers. And
I'm thinking from the way he pointed to Randy Cunneyworth that the Whalers will get 2 extra minutes for, after they all added up. There'll be a Hawk power play. That's the way I'm reading it right now.
Randy got his dander up with Larmer, and then as Kyprios and Russell were going at it behind the Hartford net, Lemieux stepped in with Randy Cunneyworth.
Number 7, Randy Cunneyworth. 2 minutes for roughing, 5 minutes for fighting, and a game misconduct. Hartford penalty, number 20, Nick Kyprios, 5 minutes for fighting. Blackhawk penalties, number 8, Cam Russell, 5 minutes for fighting. Number 26, Jocelyn Lemieux, 5 minutes for fighting, and a game misconduct at 18:06.
Well, there will be an extra call to Randy Cunneyworth so that the Hawks will go on the power play with 1:54 left. And another way this might benefit the Whalers, Rick, is all through this hockey game, Jocelyn Lemieux has been playing left wing against Pat Verbeek, and Pat Verbeek has not got loose from him. And quite frankly, he's been a pain in the side to the Whalers this evening. He's had a strong hockey game from that standpoint, a checking standpoint. So maybe that'll help the Whalers. There's a look at Pat Verbeek, who was, I'm sure that Coach Sutter of the Hawks wanted Lemieux on Verbeek.
Off the draw, it's Mussatto with the Hawks of the power play for the 6th time in this game. Their 3rd power play chance of this period. Chelios and Smith, Roenick, Sutter, who fires and hits the side of the goal. Mussatto working with them up front. Ladouceur, Weinrich, Sanderson, and Castles. The quartet on to try to kill the penalty for the Whalers. Rob Schick trying to get out of the way. Ladouceur working his man over Sutter. Mussatto barges in there to try to kick it loose. Ladouceur muscles him. Puck still up for grabs. A lot of energy expended, and finally Weinrich comes out to clear it. 1:20 to go on the roughing call to Cunneyworth, being served by Mark Gregg. The extra penalty and all of that. Larmer stops short of Ladouceur.
1 minute to play
in the second. Larmer fakes the shot, feeds it. Ruutu goal mouth looking for Smith, sneaking through the back door, and Sanderson picks it up and goes for a skate with it, trying to send Cron in. Chelios gets it back. 45 on the game clock. More than that, of course, by a few seconds on the penalty time. Ron Finn blows the whistle for an offside as we look at Christian Ruutu. Spent a little time at Belmont Hill in the Boston area as a youngster. Although, of course, from Finland.
Fine prep school. I'll never forget Ruutu one year when Buffalo was not in the playoffs and they beat the Whalers in the last game of the year, 6-1. It was the 80th game of the year, man. They were just all over the Whalers, who are in the playoffs, and as I said, the Sabres weren't. I'll tell you, he was taunting them something awful there with his. He got 2 goals and 2 assists or something. He had the high fives, and I just didn't understand that. Maybe he was celebrating the end of the year.
Remember, Joe Reekie got a big goal in that game for Buffalo. Remember, he was jumping around like he was Bobby Nystrom
in sudden death.
Yeah. 44 seconds to go in the penalty, and 38-6.
Nystrom?
One of our favorites, Jerry.
Yeah, good man.
Here's Smith down the boards. Out to the point to Larmer, trying to step away from Verbeek. Larmer fans it his pass. Cron takes it. Chelios regains it. He's got Larmer scheming up the wing. Larmer falls down. Turns away from Huda. 15 seconds to go in the period. Chelios looks at it in front. Zanavsky kicked it away. Cron flips it down the ice. Verbeek is onside from the angle. Fires. Belfour out to make the stop. Only the 8th shot he's faced in the game. The 5th in the second period. Huda back to Verbeek shooting as the siren goes, ending a rough and tumble second period of play. Now the Blackhawks still have 5 seconds left on that extra penalty to Cunnyworth on their 6th power play chance to start the 3rd period, but they will bring a 2-0 lead into play in the 3rd here in their home ice, as we'll have our second intermission activities. Jerry's pregame visit with Mario Gosland coming up.
Yogi Mantle.
Terry Yaka +4, at +3 Al Peterson and Dan Kesmer, and Paul Gillis at a +1. Mario Gosling gets ready for the start of the 3rd, still with Mark Gregg serving the final 5 seconds of that extra penalty to Randy Cunnyworth, who was given a game misconduct, as was Jocelyn Lemieux. And that big battle late in the second period. Joining Gregg in the box are Kyprios and McKenzie. On the Chicago side, Grimson and Russell are in. We have better than a sellout crowd tonight, as usual here at Chicago Stadium. 17,429 on hand as we begin playing the 3rd with the Whalers down 2-0. Ivan Korovo has the puck, trying to send in Mark Gregg. He's onside, he's alone. He fakes, and he's forced to the corner as Belfour reached out with a poke check, and I believe got a piece of the puck. Smith slides it in behind Arutu as the Whalers are back to full strength with Gregg's return. That puck is shoveled in and out of the bench area.
Now a fine pass by Ivan Korovo through the neutral ice zone as Mark Gregg left the box. Let's see. Backhand pass, pretty tough to do, but right on the tape. There's a move to his forehand. Well, this puck just went off the end of Mark Gregg's stick. That was supposed to be an offside, don't you think?
Very close.
I mean, close to, maybe it was offside.
Very close to 2 feet offside. But Mark Gregg with the opportunity, and he just couldn't finish it off. He scored his first goal in the NHL Wednesday night against the Canadiens. The Hawks with a 2-0 lead. Bring it up. It's Chelios. Hounded from behind by Castles. Mussatto chips it to the corner. Sutter steams in there, and he collides with line mate Brian Noonan. Mussatto joins the battle for control of the puck. Castles is locked up with Chelios. Mussatto is sent flying by Huda. It's dug out. Noonan right there, winds it, fires a rising shot that's snared by Gosland right under his nose. I believe that was tipped on its way to the net.
Well, it went a lot faster than I think Gosling expected it to, and that's why he really just hung on to it. This took off. You're probably right that it was a deflection and gained velocity, but here's Noonan out at the point where he should be when his defense is in. Yeah, right there, right off the tip of the stick, and boy, just zoomed up there. And Gosling says, I think we'll get a little face-off out here. He's an interesting character, isn't he?
He sure is. The Goose is pretty loose before the game.
Yeah, you got to like what he's doing and the way he's doing it.
Too many goalies you can interview, and the night they're playing, and he makes a stop here on Chelios as the Hawks set up the play right off the draw. Cron in traffic gets help from Burt. Back for Cron. The shifty little forward is hooked by Larmer, but the play is whistled down for an offside anyway, as Cron was hoping for a call.
You know, it's a couple times tonight where a Whaler carrying the puck has had a player going at pretty good speed in front of him and hasn't given the puck up, has just failed to recognize what was happening. And when you see someone going faster than you are in front of you, you got to get him the puck. Let's watch Crone coming through center ice area right here. He makes the move, and he's got Patrick Poulin right in the middle of the ice, and just really he just had the blinkers on there and couldn't see him and couldn't get him the puck.
The pass just skipped off Patrick Poulin, sticking out of play, and we get a stoppage as we look at Patrick, who's been limited to a goal in his last 14 outings.
I like what Patrick did on a couple occasions last night, Rick, and it's one of the, it's a learning process in this league. He you know, he's a young guy come in. He played well last year. Now it's a, you know, it's a full-time job for him. But he's realizing that, you know, you got to really stick up for your teammate, and when you're the guy that's available, you got to go at the opposition. You feel something wrong, and he's doing that better and better.
Corvo is rocked by Muni. Adam Burt back at center, grabs the puck and drives it right back in. Belfour hands it to Smith. Cron in on him as Muni fires the pass to Stefan Matteau. Troy Murray drives into the corner. Sharp carry in front. Sutter shoots. A great glove save by Mario Goslav, as Sutter knew exactly where that puck was going to come out.
Well, we said earlier, Rick, tonight the Hawks are one of the best teams, if not the best team, in shooting the puck in. This is old-time hockey right here, knowing where the puck's coming off the boards. Perfectly. Sutter didn't even go to the corner. He went on a straight path. Gosselin with a sensational save to keep it at 2-0. Watch what Sutter does here. Instead of going up along the boards, he's going to cut to the middle of the ice. This is before the puck come off the boards at that angle. Woo. I think he cut that in the cuff rather than in the webbing. Brent Sutter certainly one of the 2 or 3 best players in the ice tonight, along with the Goose.
Marchman has to come out to center ice to play the puck. It's flipped in by Chelios high in the air, and it comes down to Weinrich. Larmer grabs it. He feeds Roenick. He shoots, and it's deflected over the net by Ladouceur. Marchman sends it back of the goal. Weinrich hurries it over to Gillis. He tried to bottle up Chelios. Larmer backed up the play, and his drive is blocked by Ladouceur. And Larmer's taken down by Ladouceur at center. Roenick out of the way from Janssens, but Gillis is on the scene to slap it back in. Oilers now complete a change. Sanderson and Verbeek come out to join Janssens as the pass eludes Murphy. Hawks change as Weinrich slides it over to Zalapski. He takes a shot from Marchman. Gosla out to play it once again. Huda. With 2 Hawks in on him. Goes down but works the pass to Sanderson. Zalapski. 3 minutes into the 3rd period, and as he pulls up short of the blue line, the play goes offside. Zarley, who has 4 points in his last 2 coming into this one.
Well, this is the type of the game where Zarley's got to let loose now. As the game progresses, he's got to take more and more rushes. He's got to get involved in the offense. He's got to initiate an offense here for this club.
Andrew Castles is out against Ruutu. Oilers home against the Boston Bruins on Tuesday night. We'll catch up to the Whalers next on Thursday as they challenge the 2-time Stanley Cup champion Pittsburgh Penguins at the Civic Arena on Thursday night. Dirk Grant cuts in for Chicago. His pass is a weak one taken away by Verbeek, and Castle steams ahead. Lobs it in behind Sanderson. Pushed out of there by Muni. And the veteran Graham can't control the puck. Slides it to Ruutu. Ruutu continues on and ran right into Doug Huda. Zalapski slides it to Verbeek. He steps around Smith. The play backed up by Ruutu. Dougie Huda flips it into the zone as the Whalers get back on side, and now we'll go for a change. And the Reaper's out of the box, and he takes the pass, and Noonan slides it in behind the net. Burt dropped Noonan with a big hit along the boards. Kulak comes up with it. Overleads Cron, and it's slapped in by Chelios. Kulak can't get it by Grimson. He sends it on goal. Kesmer surveys the situation. The outlet to Kulak. Corvo had it go off the heel of his stick. Noonan dumps it in on his way to the bench. Kesmer as Robert Cron stepping ahead. 4-man rush for the Whalers. Cron didn't get good wood on that drive toward the net. It's chopped out by Roenick, deflected into the bench by Ladouceur, and he's belted by Grimson. And now they're talking it over. Ladouceur didn't take kindly to Grimson running him there. Let's pause for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel. Perfect. Out ahead for Rodick. This will be icing.
I'll tell you, it's so important to stay on your feet, especially when you have the likes of Steve Larmer coming across on you. If you go, once you go down, you're dead meat. Let's see this play develop. Larmer will walk in right here. There's the fake slap, but loosed it right in his feet. Maybe could have been on a half a step, but it happened so quickly. He was trapped right in the crease. Watch this Hawk, and they're really playing an excellent game of defense. I mean, let's face it, 8 shots and 45 minutes of play. And they're playing good defense, and they're working hard. But I think of them going in the playoffs, and they have a great goaltender and all that. Still got to put the puck in the net.
Well, they were hoping Joe Murphy could solve that problem, and maybe he still will, as the Whalers keep it in deep for B. Checked by Muni. Murphy, of course, has been idle all season long in a contract dispute with the Oilers before coming to Chicago in late February. And Daryl Sutter indicated this afternoon that he's also got to deal with a little change in style from the Edmonton style to what Chicago wants to do.
You know, maybe they feel they can win 2-0. I don't think you're going to beat Detroit 2-0. You know, Detroit's just got too much firepower. Or, you know, the Leafs are playing great defense. In fact, I think the Leafs are second in goals against, and certainly have more firepower than the Hawks. I think the Hawks have to really rely on their maybe this guy coming through, Joe Murphy, but they have to rely on that grinding style and forecheck to come up with chances. Then they have to put it in.
Well, they're pretty much exhausted after every goal with the amount of effort they have to put in.
But they're willing to do it.
Yes, they are. Beauty flips the puck to center, knocked down by Huda. The hand pass blown dead by Ron Finn. As we played just over 5.5 here in the third, with the Hawks in front 2-0. Celtics Weekly is Sports Channel's weekly review of the Boston Celtics. Host Mike Gorman and reporter Willie May cover the Celtics with the highlight stories and interviews that get you closer to the team. So turn on Sports Channel at 10 p.m. tomorrow for Celtics Weekly. The shots in this period: 5-0 Chicago, 31-8 in the hockey game. Bennett slides it in behind the net. Goslet keys it up. Burt is hurried. He's got his hands full with Sutter, who steals. Corvo takes over. Kesmer steps ahead, drives it into the pads of Belfour. Kiprios behind the net. Maybe the Hawks feel they owe Belfour a night off after his 39 saves at Madison Square Garden on Friday. They're getting back to the style, obviously, they want to play. Lately, they've gotten away from it. 15 goals against for Chicago in the last 4 games, which they are 2-2. Russell down the board, slotting it into Murray. He's pushed by Burt. Puck still up for grabs. Kesmer comes in for it. He stumbles and goes down. We've got a call upcoming. Braun controls, and holding will be the call from Rob Schick. Let's see who's going to go here.
That's what I mean, Rick, when I say that they're really willing to be that grinding type and work their tail off. And this is what happens when you do that. You draw penalties, and maybe your power play can put one in for you.
Adam Burt not anxious to go to the box, but that's where he has been sentenced here.
You know, that first penalty of the game went to the Whalers by really not getting position along the boards in their end, and this penalty is somewhat the same way. So you got to get along those boards. You got to get the puck. And you got to get it up to your wingers at the point in this building. If you don't, this team's going to do a pretty good job on you.
Well, our opening comments certainly revealed what the Hawks like to do. Paul Holmgren indicating that how well they can play, and Terry Ake talking about that forecheck. Here's a shot by Ronick that's wide. Sharp carom comes to Sanderson. He'll slide it down the ice. 7th power play for the Hawks. Steve Smith has a power play goal in this game for them. Sutter with the other goal, and that was shorthanded in the first period. Here's Ronick. Well, he's had room through center ice all night. Here's Larmer dropping it back to Smith. Chelios bats at it. Ladouceur struggled. Murphy shoved him out of the way, and Murphy will be called here for hooking. That evens it out with 1:29 to go on Bird's penalty.
Just a little hooking. This should be called a little hooking. And he did throw Ladouceur off. And the Hawks come up with the puck. So
Joe Murphy, 2 minutes for
Joe Murphy is not very hot. This puck will go to the left of Goslin in the corner right here. There's a little hook. Yep, just a little hook. 2 minutes for a little hook.
Whether it's a big hook or a little hook,
the hook's a hook.
2 minutes.
That's right.
So each team down a man with 13:03 remaining here in the third period. The Whalers trying to get her cranked up. They haven't had the legs. Haven't had really a whole lot going since that shorthanded goal at the 6-minute mark of the first period by Brent Sutter. That turned things Chicago's way. Here's Route 2 handing it to Marchment in front. All alone was Graham. He couldn't reach the pass. Graham tries to center against Weidrich. Sends it off the side of the goal as Route 2 had dropped his stick momentarily. Prime. The 4-on-4. Trying to stick handle around Marchment. Graham takes over. 55 seconds left in Bird's penalty. Chelios on the move, lets it go, and it's deflected behind the net by Zalapsky. Chelios stays in deep. The Hawks completing a change behind him. Mussatto takes over with a heavy work. Chelios got clipped. He's crying foul to Schick as play continues. Weidrich to Zalapsky. Zalapsky roars into the zone, trying to split the defense. Does. Belfour reaches out to punch that shot to the corner. Mark Gregg circles with it. Checks his options, finds Kesmer. 20 seconds on Bird's penalty, and the Whalers will have a brief power play when he leaves the box. 4 players and the puck behind the net. Gregg, he got chopped by Chelios, and Chelios is going to get called here. Mark Gregg has flipped the gloves away. Chelios leans in to check on him here. He knows he's heading off. For how long, that will be determined when we come back. 11:40 to go here in the third.
We'll bring the stick up right here. Get Mark Craig right in the eye, and he's going to go for 5. An automatic ejection. And it's accidental, but this is very ironic, you know, because at the other end of the ice, Chelios took one in the eye, and no one saw it. He continued on with the play, but this come up. This is 5 minutes. There's it's got to be a 5-minute call. There's no question about this one. We said last night we don't want to be hypocrites that there's times when maybe you can get away with 2 minors, but I don't think this one called for that. And it doesn't make any difference what team it is.
Well, I don't know if Daryl Sutter will agree with that. He was beefing with Schick for a couple of minutes while we were looking at the replay, and he's still parking. As 6 seconds remain on Adam Bird's minor penalty for holding. When he is out, the Whalers will have a 31-second 2-man advantage.
No, and certainly a most important part of the game, but Chelios is the Hawks' best player.
He certainly is. And just about every night of the season. Here's Castles with the 5-on-3 for the Hartford Whalers, down 2-0. 11:22 to go in the third. And the puck comes back to Zalapsky. Watched by Brent Sutter. Zalapsky's shot is blocked by Sutter. Weidrich to Verbeek out of that corner. Beats Castles. Goes to Sanderson. Zalapsky with the Murphy penalty just about up. Castles had the shot attempt. Sanderson got it on goal. A stick save by Belfour. It's a 5-on-4 now for 4:18. The remaining time on Chelios' major for high sticking. Castles in front. It's tipped away by Murphy. Weidrich. Back for Castles to Sanderson. Fakes the shot. Castles in front. Belfour's supposed to make a stop. Sanderson couldn't hold the pass. He does keep it in. 6th power play chance for Hartford. 2 in quick succession here. Weidrich fakes it, gets it to Verbeek, deflecting it toward the net. Belfour shut him off. Verbeek still has it. Out to Zalapsky. Sanderson. Gets it back from Castles. Anderson winds, fires, deflected by two Hawks, and Larmer picks it up. Sends it off the boards, but not out. Zanavsky shoots, and it's gloved by Belfour. He'll hang on to it. Instantly, we get a whistle. 3:26 to go in the major.
I don't know why the whistle, to be truthful. It wasn't the guy near Belfour. It was, I guess, courtesy from referee Schick. I'm very surprised at a play Steve Larmer made. He knows every inch of this building. Here's some work by Belfour down in the net. I'll tell you, he covers a lot of net on his knees. He's a big boy. Probably in the best shape of any goalie in history, which wouldn't take much, but
well,
he beats everyone, you know, in all their off-ice stuff. He's looking at him. Well, he is puffing a little bit, but not as much as Schick.
Well, he leads the league in minutes played and well prepared to do that.
I guess, you know, I was mentioning to Jim Pappin, their pro scout here in Chicago, about a little tip this morning, and he says, well, he says he's just like John Bauer, you know, he hates for you to score on him, and even in practice.
That's a good sign. 3:25 to go in the major penalty. Noonan steps into the box to serve it. The Whalers trying to keep the play in that Hawk zone, but Cam Russell slides it down the ice. They ended up with 4 shots on net with all of that going on. Here's Poulin. Strides in on Marchment. And Marchment just takes the puck away. He'll flip it back to center. Well, that was a strange whistle. There was no one near Belfour, and just instantaneously the whistle blew. The Hawks were tired. They loved it. Here's Poulin to play it in behind the net. Braun swats at it, gets it to Poulin. Out to Burt. Across to Zanavsky. He finds Poulin, who shoots, and it's blocked in front by Russell. And he drives it by Adam Burt with 2.5 to go in the major.
This guy Cam Russell, he puts an awful lot into the game. Works hard.
We got a few guys who were not regulars until they came to the Hawks. He was one of them who's earned his time. Marchment's another. He couldn't find regular work in Winnipeg, but he's doing all right here in Chicago.
They're Mike Keenan types.
Verbeek shoots it in off the glass around Roenick to play it. Sanderson rushes in. All 3 Whaler forwards in the corner. Zanavsky wrists it toward the net. It's off Verbeek. Castles fires wide. Weinrich takes it at the point. He's checked by the toe, but got it in deep to Verbeek. 2 Hawks there, though. Smith fires it up the middle. 1:50 to go in the penalty. Now we get the whistle. Now Verbeek takes a shot at Belfour back around the Chicago net. The officials were watching at center as the Whalers were close to a 2-line pass. And Schick had his attention turned toward Verbeek and Belfour.
I think the whistle had already gone then. It didn't go before the 2-line pass. I didn't hear it.
Hard to tell in this place.
Yeah, that's for sure. But it seemed that Balfour and Verbeek are both going to go. Then Verbeek went back and took a shot at Balfour. So I would think he might get the extra call here. See at the top. Now let's watch. The whistle's already gone. Now watch Verbeek. You'll just, bingo, he threw a shot right there. And as we just went to show you this tape, Schick signaled a misconduct to Pat Verbeek. Pat Verbeek must have taken a shot from the goaltender Belfour as the Whalers had the possession on the power play as he was in front of the net.
Well, we've seen a few ejections this weekend. Jansen's kicked out last night. 2 North Stars ejected. Tonight, Cunnyworth and Lemieux.
Hartford, number 16.
Now Verbeek getting at least a 10-minute misconduct.
2 minutes for roughing, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct, and a 10-minute misconduct penalty.
Why is he going to the dressing room?
Number 30 at Belfour.
Oh yeah, there's 8:25 left, but if, yeah, it's impossible for him to get back in the game.
2 minutes for roughing, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct.
You're right. There has been a lot of ejections. You know, I certainly understand it with all the supposed high sticking and all that. I'm interested to see what Belfort did. I know he had to give him a little chop.
Now Belfort gets 2 for roughing. Belfort 26 minutes at penalties. You might say that's a lot for a goalie, but I think that's about half of Ron Hextall's total this year. He's perennially the leader there.
Where were we in Minnesota? There's an article on Ron Hextall, who was the Quebec Nordique nominee for the Masterson Trophy. Right? Everyone thought that was great, and he says he's just trying to cut down his penalty minutes every year. He's got to play a long time to get down around 20 or 15. But I guess he's really a great team guy and a good community guy. He's their Masterson Trophy nominee.
They certainly rally around him in the dressing room. Each team down a man, and Kesmer's trying to break away, and he takes a hand pass from Cron, and it's whistled down. So McKenzie serving the extra minor to Pat Verbeek. And we have 1:41 left in the Chelios Major, now 1:56 on Verbeek's extra penalty as we look at Dan Kesmer, who just about experienced a very rare opportunity for a defenseman.
A breakaway, but it was a correct call.
Whalers have Kesmer and Burt behind Corvo and Cron. Muni and Smith, Mussatto and Sutter on for Chicago. The Hawks continue with a 2-0 lead and 8:10 to go in the third. Sutter angles the pass. Mussatto precedes the play into the zone offside. Stefan Mussatto, an ex-Calgary Flame. As we mentioned, one of really a few young forwards on this roster. Murphy comes over with decent experience. He's 25, but you've got 6 or 7 forwards 30 or older.
Not the guy on the right.
No, Roenick's a long time hope. Certainly. He's 23.
James Woods.
Sure looks like him. You say, well, you'd like to have his money, but Roenick's going to be doing all right.
Oh yeah, he's right on the he's in the superstar category.
No charity case, that's for sure. Gosselin winds it around to the boards, and Ruutu over for it. He's met there by Burt. He's trying to rough him up a bit. Smith and Kesmer battle their way to the corner. Ruutu checked again by Burt. Kesmer has the puck. Slides it to Cassis. Cuts in front of his own net. Burt there. Slowed up by Dirk Graham. Sanderson cuts back for it. With even strength for another 45 seconds, barring any further calls. And then Chicago will have a very brief power play. Castles is whistled for an offside. Let's pause for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel. Net Weinrich moves it along to Poulin. Poulin cuts in. He's got Greg with him. Greg kept away from the puck by Marchment, and the puck is tipped at a play by Cam Russell. Now we've got 8 seconds to go on the Chelios Major, being served by Noonan. 23 seconds to go in the extra minor to Verbeek, with McKenzie in the box serving that. There's a lot more Whaler action to come, so sit back and open an ice cold Budweiser for that fresh, pure, natural taste that only comes from the king of beer.
The Hawks will have a 17-second. No, 8 from 23 is 15-second power play. Boy, my adding is. That's what happens when you can't take your shoes off and you're trying to figure out these time differences.
Good thing you got loafers on there.
That's right.
So you don't have to tie them. Pass fumbled by Zanowski. The backhander on goal by Murphy, and Gosselin with a stop. Huda turns away from the checking of Roenick. As the Hawks now have that brief power play. Huda battling his way through traffic. Jansen shovels it out, and McKenzie is now set to come out, and the teams are back to full strength. With the score still 2-0 Chicago, 6:20 to go in the third. Jansen's ahead for Jim McKenzie, joined by Kiprios. Pass broken up by Roenick, and Roenick cuts in. Noonan Couldn't handle a pass. Kesmer and Murphy get locked up. Noonan tries to sweep it in front. Huda slaps it away. Smith pokes at it. And it's chopped out to center by Kesmer. Jansen's at Kesmer on the rush. Smith poked it loose. Marchman helps out. Sidesteps the hit from McKenzie. Steve Smith absorbs the hit from Jansen's as he slides it slowly to center. Corriveau battling for it. It comes loose to Pula. He shoots just wide up. And Belfour. Smith brings it around the boards. Ladouceur steps into the play. His drive is deflected by Sutter up into the crowd.
Well, we got Grimson on. You see Jim McKenzie just went off the ice, so.
Finally located that souvenir. There is Grimson out of the University of Manitoba, the Calgary Flames.
He's a player that knows his role. As we said earlier, a favorite here. Tell me, a couple years ago when he was a Flame, that I guess he got a tussle with Dave Brown, and it was really one-sided, and there was the thought that he might not be able to play, at least the style he plays anymore.
There was talk early this year that the Hawks might try to reacquire Mike Peluso from the Ottawa Senators. Of course, Peluso had been here and former penalty minute champ.
And might have wanted a goal scorer. Is that what you mean?
That's right. He is scoring the goals this year. Muty reaches back for it. Checked by Cron. Sutter plays it up the boards to Graham. Weinrich waits for the zone to clear and wrists it back in. Poulin lobs it behind the net. Sutter keeps it moving to Smith. Long lead pass sails by the shaft of Graham's stick. Gosselin grabs it and hangs on.
Good play by Gosselin. It's better to be safe than sorry. The puck was rolling and sliding a little bit, so he gloved it and took a whistle. 32-13 the shots as Paul Holmgren looks at the clock, analyzing the time. 5:02 left. It's amazing, the Whalers haven't played a great game tonight. Certainly nowhere near the way they played the last 50 minutes last night, but they still have a chance. There's the famous organ. I guess that won't be in the new arena.
And a tough time replacing it. Here's Smith closing and shooting. He scores!
I'll tell you one thing, Rick. The only defense in this goal is the 24-second shot clock. That's how much time he had from the draw. Obviously, as we watch the man with the puck, what type of a job are his other players doing? There's the win. One interference at the top of your screen. Two interference. Guy moving to front of the net, causing interference. Well done without the puck by the Chicago Blackhawks. Route 2 easily wins the draw. Will end up taking, you see this man job here, right here. I think that's Larmer. Good job. Allowing Smith to drift to the middle and whistle it past the stick side of Mario Gosselin.
Smith's 10th and second of the game from Route 2 at 15:04. Route 2's second assist of the game. 3-0 Blackhawks with just over 4.5 to go here in the third, in a game in which the score really doesn't indicate they've outplayed the Whalers in every category tonight. Draws, and perfectly executed play off that faceoff. Here's Mussatto out of the corner. Gosselin freezes it.
I mean, they just they did everything right from winning the draw. Guys interfered perfectly, took their man. I mean, I don't know what time if they keep track of what time the draws are, but this man here had a lot of time from the time the draw happened to the time he put it in the net. So he's probably saying to himself, I don't need Chris Chelios. If he's out of the game, then I should be the Norris Trophy candidate. And I'm sure that Chris Chelios will be the first to admit that he's been very helpful to him in being that top candidate for the Norris. I said he was essentially the opening, and he probably is, because he's had a very consistent year. But, Raymond Bourque is just playing excellent hockey of late. Maybe started a little slow. And who else we got in that category that we were?
Well, Housley and Coffey are up there in the points, but their all-around games can't compare to Bork and Chelios.
Yeah, that's for sure. So, I mean, we saw Chelios play a game in Hartford this season. What was that, a 6-2 Chicago win? I mean, that was, to me, the most dominating game I've seen an individual play this year, outside of some performances in goal.
And Kesmer picks it up. Fires it out to McKenzie. It's tipped, so he's onside. He cuts it. He shoots it. Balfour shuts him off. The Hawks lead it 3-0 with just under 4 minutes to go in the third period.
Hockey club here. This is a great pass. It's deflected on the stick of Jim McKenzie. You see what happens here when you walk in and your left-handed shot and lift your right leg.
Huldan trying to get the shot away, and it's taken away.
Let me continue, Rick. That's the goalie owns you. He just walks right out of it.
Roenick dropping it for Noonan, trying to connect with Roenick in that corner with a sharp turn. Still hounded by Ladouceur. Noonan plays it. The shot by Mussatto is tipped away by Weinrich. And Belfour gunning for his 7th shutout of the season. He already leads the league at 6. His best save on McKenzie there. He's only faced 14 shots tonight. Castles swings in front of the net, and he's hooked as Murphy got it from behind. Delayed call. Here's Zanapski taking it. He wants to go with it. Muni waits, and finally we get a whistle. With 2:56 remaining here in the third.
I don't know if that's going to be Murphy or Troy Murray. One of them's got to go.
Well, the Whalers have been whistled for 60 minutes in penalties in this game, and 55 for Chicago going into this call.
There's a little hook by Murphy here.
Number 17, Joe Murphy.
Wow.
2 minutes for hooking.
It's going to be Murphy, but the worst of it was a high stick by Troy Murray.
Murphy, 2 minutes for hooking at 17:04.
Whalers get their 7th power play chance. But it might be too late now. Their big chance was when the Chelios major occurred, and it was 2-0. Castles, Gregg, and Sanderson out there as Verbeek has been banished to the dressing room. That clearing attempt hit Sutter, perhaps in the shield. Gregg trying to put it out in front. Castles gets it back to Zanapski. As Sutter continues, he barely missed a shift when he got that puck in the face. Back in early March, Zanapski trying to save the play. Cannot. He's forced to center.
He's certainly a candidate for one of the stars tonight. He's Steve Smith for sure.
Sanderson hemmed in by Graham. And Zanapski. The Whalers are losing ground here. Zanapski turns in front of his own net. Finally plays it behind Castles. What an effort by Sutter first, and now Graham, and Belfour out to fire it, and he did get it out over the line as Castles played it, and apparently was outside the blue line with 2:04 to go in the game and 1:08 on the penalty.
You know, we mentioned Mike Keenan a couple of times tonight when he was in charge of Team Canada a couple of years ago. One of the, I'm not saying the first guys he picked, but surprisingly he picked Dirk Graham. And there's a lot of criticism for it, but what we just saw there is why he wanted him. He's an ace checker. Here's the captain of the Hawks hounding Zarley Zalapski, poking him and harassing him, and finally a semi-icing.
Dirk Graham, who spent 6 years in the minors, playing in the IHL, played a little bit in Springfield in the American League and the North Star organization before he really got the full-time chance with the Hawks. He got established in this league. 52 seconds to go on the penalty to Murphy. Kesmer bounces into the corner. Troy Murray fumbles the clearing attempt, but he got it by Adam Bird. Kesmer to Bird. On launches the backhand attempt. It's fielded by Belfour, but the play was offside. Jay Sherrish blows the whistle. 32 seconds left in his power play and 1:28 to go in the game. As the Whalers, as we mentioned, come in here losing their last 5 against Chicago, and scoring goals against the Hawks have been a problem for longer than that. Really, their last 7 games, they've scored only 12 goals against the Hawks. They've been smothered by Keenan-coached teams and Sutter-coached teams.
Well, Chicago works hard here, and I think the bottom line to this game was what team's more desperate, and it's very obvious that the Hawks were the desperate team here tonight.
Sanderson slowed up by Larmer, and that throws the play offside. Well, Toronto has won. They beat Calgary tonight 4-0. Darren Pooper with a shutout, and so the Leafs have 92 points. So do the Hawks at this point. Detroit is 93, but in about a minute 16, Chicago will reclaim the top spot in the
Detroit's
North.
only got 6 games left, Rick. These other 2 teams have 8.
And Chicago has home games against Detroit and Toronto, 1 each, but Toronto and Detroit do not play anymore.
But who plays Tampa?
Have to check the schedule on that.
And who's on second?
Here's Gregg snapping one off. It's fought off by Belfour. Berto the rebound, and Belfour is there. He makes the stop with Murphy out of the box, and the penalty over.
Well, Ed Belfour has a very unique way of playing goal. He's into it for 60 minutes. We know he puts his body into it. He puts his soul into it too. But this is good reaction right here. This is an illustration of a good athlete. There's no question about it. And he's risen to the top of the goaltending chart in the National Hockey League. I guess he had a stinker of a game against Buffalo the other night. They were going in from every which way.
And they lost that one 6-4 here at the stadium. It bounced back with the win at Madison Square Garden on Friday. That was a back-to-backer. I think they were here Thursday night for that one. Kiprios off the draw, slides it on net. It's turned aside easily. Out comes Mussatto. 45 seconds remaining in the hockey game. As Mussatto takes his time, now just flips it in. He'll go to work. As Ladouceur takes it. Kept in by Muni. Fires, deflected wide by Mussatto. Gosselin kept it away from the net. Ruutu is checked by Janssens. They both hit the ice. Mussatto trying to slip out of the corner on his backhand. Beats Smith. Graham turns for it. Tapped it into Ruutu. He's kept away from the net by Gosselin. 13 seconds to go. There's a shot by Gilbert, and he cranks it over the net and off the glass. Smith will bottle up the Whalers. Gilbert at the side is stopped by Gosselin with 3 seconds to go. And the Chicago Blackhawks and Eddie Belfour celebrate his 7th shutout of the season. And the Hawks are back at first in the Norris as they beat the Hartford Whalers tonight 3-0.
Well, I mean, he certainly made some saves at the end, and Belfour did, but I think the Hawks team in general and their approach to the grinding and checking allowed them to win the game. They got the Whalers at a very vulnerable time, and there's a happy coaching staff, Paul Baxter and Darryl Sutter, and not so happy a coaching staff. And this we talk about all the time, Rick, about growing at the end of the year. This is going to happen an awful lot next year, is back-to-back games against good teams and tough buildings, and you got to learn how to win them.
This coaching staff was looking for more from their players, but not to happen tonight. 3-0 Chicago. We'll wrap it up in just a moment. Around Chicago Stadium, the Hawks smother the Whalers 3-0 tonight, Jerry. And we're going to look at their 3rd goal, and that came from the stick of Steve Smith. They had 1 shorthanded tonight, 1 power play, and this one even strength.
Now, this is a well-executed goal by the Hawks, winning the draw first of all. Then look at the players take their men out, up in the right boards, down in the face-off circle, drifting to the front of the net, and all of a sudden Steve Smith with, wow, he could have had a coffee and a donut right there. He had plenty of time, and he just kept drifting into a perfect spot and blasted it by Mario Gosselin. Nothing Gosselin could have done about that goal. Once again, Gosselin was very strong.
Yes, he was, as he stopped 30 of 33 shots tonight. Smith with his second of the game, 10th of the season at 15:04. Ruutu picks up the assist. Smith with 2 goals tonight. Ruutu and Chelios each had 2 assists. The shots favored Hartford 8-7 as they began to finally test Ed Belfour in the closing minutes of that game, but they were outshot 33-16 for the game. At one point the shots were 19-3 through 26 minutes of play, and Chicago goes on to win it 3-0. And we'll be back with more at the stadium in just a moment.
Now it's time for the Alka-Seltzer.
Nothing Hawks over the Whalers. Sports Channel and the Hartford Whalers invite you to enter the Connecticut GMC Truck Heavy Hitter Award contest for your chance to win a brand new 1993 Sonoma SLE pickup truck. Stop by your participating Connecticut GMC truck dealer and vote for the Whaler Heavy Hitter Award, given to the player that best demonstrates persistence, determination, and a hard work ethic. You'll automatically be entered for a chance to win the GMC truck. You'll also have a chance to win the first prize of a trip for 2 to the 1994 NHL All-Star Game in New York. No purchase is necessary, so stop by your participating Connecticut GMC truck dealers and enter today. Jerry, it's time to look at our Budweiser play of the game, and it involves certainly your choice, and I agree with you, one of the top players in tonight's game, Brent Sutter.
Yeah, we're going to see the first goal of the game. That's going to be our Budweiser play of the game. Sutter with a fine move at the Whaler blue line will spot Chelios and give him a little backhand shuffle, and Chelios gives it right back to him. And one thing about Sutter is they never quit. They keep following it up, and he gets the rebound and puts it over Goslin for the eventual game winner.
Jerry, leading up to that, not much was happening in the game, and certainly not much happening in the stands, in a place where the visiting team is used to having their ears ringing from a lot of noise. Things weren't going badly for the Whalers until that goal.
Well, they just never took advantage of it. They come out early and were played quite conservative, took the crowd out of the game, and were in a pretty good position for most of the evening. They really, outside the Steve Smith second goal that made it 3-0, they really had a chance to put in some sort of an effort and try and gain a point in here, but they never took advantage of it. And the Hawks did play good defense. You can't take that away from them, but still there was plenty of an opportunity tonight to do something, and they just didn't.
Let's look ahead and see what's coming up next on Sports Channel tonight. We have a replay of the St. John's Hamilton American Hockey League game of the week, followed by Ski Quest. Looking ahead on the Whalers' schedule, they're home to the Bruins Tuesday night, but we will catch up with them on the road. On Thursday night, they'll visit the Pittsburgh Penguins at the Civic Arena. We invite you to join us Thursday at 7:30. They'll be home against the Ottawa Senators on Saturday at 7:30. Our final score, the Chicago Blackhawks 3 and the Hartford Whalers 0. Our thanks to our crew here at Chicago Stadium, and also back at Woburn. For Jerry Cheevers, Rick Peckham saying so long from Chicago.